What you see here is basically the entire content that we will have had in about 6 months. This is what's coming when New World gets the New World Aeternum edition on October 15th. In a dev video today, which was pretty much designed to quell unrest in the community, we learned a couple of new things. But ultimately, it's probably not enough, and there's a big question about where is the roadmap, considering we were sort of promised one would come in June. Let's get into it. So there are a couple of things on this roadmap that we actually technically didn't know. For example, the DirectX 12 rendering is completely new. They'd mentioned it in some previous dev videos, but now it's actually confirmed, and it's confirmed to be coming with the Aeternum edition. They've also said that the Cutlass key zones is actually getting up leveled. So basically it's going to go to like level 65, and it's going to have new quests and new enemies. What I sort of find funny about that, and maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh, first we had Brimstone, which was like a completely new zone. Then we have the Elysian Wilds, which was sort of a little bit of a downgrade because it was like a rework zone. And then we have Cutlass keys where basically the level of the NPCs is going up. I think it's probably more than that because obviously the free-for-all zone is going to be there, but I don't know, I just sort of amused by it. Also, it sounded like they were going to up-level the repeatable endgame soul trials. So I think all of the soul trials will be like level 65. And it sort of sounded like you'll be able to get decent endgame loot from that, and you're going to be able to do them 3 times a day. Now, I just wanted to get that out of the way because that was pretty much all that was new in this video when it comes to PC. They did speak directly to the PC players in this video though. The first question is, hey, you basically built up this entire thing for PC players, why didn't you talk to us? And they very politely effectively say, we wanted to sell to the console players. They don't say it like that, obviously, but the undertone is very, very clear. There was an awful lot of questions about what happens to people who haven't bought Rise of the Angry Earth, which was a good question. Should have been written in an FAQ though, and it should have been a bit clearer. The whole marketing, if I'm honest, was a complete disaster, and they never really addressed that. They were like saying, we wanted to send a very clear message to console players. Yeah, well, you didn't send a very clear message to anybody. They've confirmed what we know now, that the game isn't separate. It's basically just an update on PC. You know, everybody's sort of understanding that now. Nothing really crazy is coming. It's just an update. Probably bigger than a normal season update, but not exactly huge like Brimstone was or like Rise of the Angry Earth was. Not that that was actually that big, but you know what I mean? Nothing that big. They also confirmed that there's nothing really coming until October 15th. There's going to be a Summer Medley Fair event, but that's pretty much it. So that means there's no content really for another 4 months. And it effectively confirms what I said in the previous video, that from October to October, if you don't include the expansion and you don't include the Aeternum period of time, then we're pretty much going to have had 1 5-man dungeon and 1 10-man trial. Pretty much nothing else apart from maybe like some seasonal story and some artifacts and stuff like that. But basically nothing major. They did reveal some information about the updates, as in when you're going to be able to beta test it. There's going to be a technical closed test on console only, and then there's going to be a test for PC and console that I think is going to be more like an open PTR or something like that. They did also mention that the raid is actually going to be hard, but how hard, we don't know. Will it be like the worm hard? Personally, I hope not. Or will it be more like the 10-man trials? I sort of hope it'll be more like that. Not really that relevant. I don't know why the new PvP zone has Elysian Wilds. Maybe it's just that the Cutlass Keys areas that's close to the Elysian Wilds. Not really sure about that. But honestly, that was pretty much everything. And the overwhelming sentiment, if I'm honest, is that this just isn't good enough. Basically, it's just not enough content. And there's one very key omission, which is, where is that roadmap? What's coming? Like, what's coming after this? And why are we expecting one? Well, let's listen into that. In this video, New World Dev Update February 24, Scott said this.
With all of the goodies, I did want to share some news. I know we had promised a roadmap in May, and unfortunately, we are not going to be able to share that until June.
They promised a roadmap in May, but they're not going to be able to share that until June. But I don't think this is a roadmap. This is an announcement. This isn't a roadmap. A roadmap has multiple months and shows the future after your announcement. This is just one point on a roadmap. You're supposed to have multiple time frames on a roadmap. It shows you how to get from A to B. It shows you where you're going. What this shows us is the next destination. It doesn't show us beyond that. And in this video, I think Katie or somebody says that the roadmap for 2025 is going to come out after New World Aeternum. Now, my question to you would be, why would you buy New World Aeternum or play New World Aeternum when you're not sure what's coming next? For PC, it's a bit more obvious. It's just free content. You come along and play it. But if I was a console player, I'd want to know what you were going to give me for my money. And without a roadmap, you don't know. But that's okay because...
We take our commitments serious, but
they take the commitment serious. So I'm sure we'll get a roadmap soon. Doesn't even make sense, right? They can't give us a roadmap now because either what they said in the video today doesn't make sense because the roadmap would come later, or what they said in this video doesn't make sense because we've not had a roadmap. Now, maybe Scott here just misspoke. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he just meant like announcement. But for me, an announcement isn't a roadmap. They're fundamentally two different things. I'm not really happy with the fact that they've said one thing and then not delivered it. That's as clear as I can be. I don't like that. I think that feels a little bit awkward. I actually understand why you wouldn't want to show your roadmap, because if it invalidates some of the previous progression, you don't almost want to know about that. But I think if they just said, hey, new raid every 3 months or what have you, I think people would be okay. But not knowing gives us the fear that what might be coming is absolutely nothing like what we experienced just in the previous 12 months. So the lack of a roadmap for me is very dubious, very scary. And yeah, I'm a little bit concerned about that. So there's a variety of things to like sort of dwell upon. The first was the absolutely awful announcement. They've sort of addressed why they didn't talk to PC players. Although I think if they would have just done this video on the Friday or maybe the Saturday, people would have like calmed down quite quickly. Some of the messaging was just completely awful. As I said, people thought their characters would be deleted and, you know, the game was getting removed and replaced with an ARPG. The absolute marketing that they did was just woeful. And a video like this would have sort of eased that pain a little bit. So bad marketing, that's a problem. But one thing they can't really address, because it just looks negative for them, is that this content in that period of time of like being like a year, for a lot of players, just isn't good enough. And for me, on Twitch, I'll probably end up streaming like other games. That won't necessarily be a problem, and I'll come back when Aeternum comes out. And I think that's what a lot of people are going to do. If you didn't already know this, New World at this point is not really a game you can main. It's a game that you dip in and out of. As a content creator, that makes it obviously quite difficult, but as a player, that's fine, right? It's a good MMO. I'd actually like this game as a player. As a casual player, I still think I'm going to enjoy the game, but it's never going to be what we all sort of wanted it to be as a massive MMO that was huge in the industry and in the market. It just doesn't seem like that's going to happen at this point. I think believing otherwise is very strong copium. For now, I think like these updates, there's nothing in there that I think's bad, apart from maybe the new PvP zone, which if they've done that wrong, where you can like be ganked at the exits, muskets can reign supreme, guilds can sort of control areas even though it's all free for all. If they've not really addressed any of that and not addressed any collusion and all that kind of jazz, I think the PvP zone could be awful. And, you know, same could be said for the raid. If it's like ridiculously hard and only 1% of people can do it, the 1% will be happy, but everybody else will just be confused. You know, there's a variety of things that could go wrong here, but in the main, I look at this roadmap and I'm like, yeah, looks decent, happy with that. That's content, right? However, it's not enough. Like, I think there should be like a new zone, a new weapon, and maybe some extra map for Outpost Rush, something like that. Sure, I would very much like that, but I don't look at the content and think any specific one is awful. I don't do that. I just wish there was more. But the reality is, we're not really going to get more at this point. It's going to be a case, I think, where every single patch is going to be sort of like crumbs, breadcrumbs that you're sort of like desperately putting into your mouth, and you're not really going to get that appetizing, satisfying meal. But if you take that for what it is, and you play other games and you have breaks and stuff like that, maybe New World's a game you can slot in. For most of us though, we're heavily disappointed because there's just not that much content in the game. What does the future hold? Well, I have some theories. We'll see what happens. My theory is that eventually they'll end up shifting development to Lord of the Rings. In what form or guise that takes, I'm not 100% sure. The next bit of copium really would be the roadmap, but we'll only see the roadmap after October 15th. That's like 4 or 5 months away. And even then, I know you guys will say, even if they give us a roadmap, we don't believe what's on it because of Season 4. And again, that's hard to disagree with. I actually like some of the performance upgrades, DirectX 12. It all sounds really cool. It's just that the all bit is just not enough. I think no matter what I say, some people are going to be like, Jay, you're too harsh. And the other audience are going to be like, Jay, you're not harsh enough. I can't believe we've been disappointed for the trillionth time. And you're sort of all right at the same time, right? I think New World's going to go through a very strong process of finding out who the audience is for. I think the play numbers in the short term are going to go down. Will they go up with the console? Yes, because of the play base numbers on console. Obviously, people will just automatically be able to play it who wouldn't able to play it beforehand. But will they stay around? I don't know about that. I would doubt that. Console's going to be such an unknown that I can't predict it. There is a lot of competition on console for games around this time. Will New World be able to sort of like peer through in a market not really full of MMOs? Or it might just get overwhelmed. Don't know. We'll see. I do know you should let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Big shout out to my Patreons. I don't have my thing on screen, but big shout out to you guys. I really appreciate you. If you want to come talk to me about this, it'll be on Twitch. I will be a link either on screen or in the description. I'll be starting a little bit late tomorrow because I'm taking my daughter to the theatre to watch some kids sing. I just agree to these things once beforehand and then I go watch them with her. She'll have a great time. I'll just be sat there pretty bored. Actually, that's not true. She'll be smiling and I'll be happy. And in those moments, I'll be forgetting about New World. Like and subscribe. Goodbye.